Hey man, what it is, this is Dean and I am your host, and this is By Any Means. There go to Cash App, $ Dean by any means. There go to PayPal at Dean by any means. Y'all already know what I'm about to say. I don't care if you leave $1, $10, $1,000. It is much, much, much appreciated, y'all. And then you see that heart with the $ at the bottom of this video, yeah, that's the super chat. You can press that at any time your heart desires. Um, we gotta talk about bad business. Shout out to Manager Marty. Shout out to Jabril Noble. Shout out to Jesse Hart. Shout out to most importantly my guy Greg Hackett. And the reason why I brought those names up today is for a very, very good reason. I woke up this morning to some bad news that Jesse Hart, Jabril Noble, the co-main and the main events for Let's Settle This or Let's Do Business. I forget what the card was called, but it was supposed to take place November 22nd at the Leocora Center. If you don't know what that is, if you're not from Philadelphia, that's where the Temple Owls basketball team plays at. Um, Come to find out that these guys, the last three fights, the three main event fights, you got the co-main, you got the co-main, and then you got the main event, which would have been Jesse Hart. The co-main would have been Jabril Noble, and I think Nabril Albright was the fight before that. Um, it's unfortunately because Teflon Promotions and a guy named he calls himself Teflon Dom is nothing Teflon about this guy. He made these fighters go through a whole training camp. He made my guys at ysmsportsmedia, go on a whole media run, promote the fight, do videos, take time out of their day to promote his card, and then he doesn't even pay the commission, y'all. And I feel so bad because it's my city, and I would have felt worse if I would have went. I was going to go, but I'm glad that I didn't go because I would have been pissed off. Um, hasn't reimbursed people for that was buying it on pay-per-view, and to do this to a city like mine, Philadelphia, the mecca of boxing, is just terrible, especially off the back of what Jerron Boots Ennis has been doing for the city. Has been bringing a lot of light, a lot of exposure to the city of Philadelphia, along with Manager Marty, along with YSM Sports Media, along with Greg Hackett, and along with myself. It's terrible for the sport of boxing. And this is why boxing cannot go further because of bad promoters, bad business, and a bunch of conniving and sucker moves that people be making out here in this boxing game. Did not pay the fighters, was charging a nice amount of money for people to buy tickets, and they didn't even get to see the last three fights that people come to actually see, and that is terrible, man. Because the part is about boxing, these guys has families. These guys take time out their day to train. These guys take time out their day to train fighters. These guys take time out their day to make videos and promote fighters. These guys take time out their day to sit up there and make posters and make videos from somebody like YSM Sports Media that covers boxing and actually interviews fighters and things like that. All of that time has just been wasted. And then what happens is you got people like Jabril Noble and Jesse Hart who got families who take time out of their day to sit up there and train, be away from their families, be away from work. I'm not sure if they have jobs or not, but what I do know is how hard and how much work you have to put in, especially when you're a fighter like Jabril Noble that's trying to be on the up and coming from a city like Philadelphia, got a backing and following behind them. And then for something like that to happen, when you got a bunch of other stuff, a bunch of other distractions that's going on in your life, is just terrible. For somebody like Jesse Hart, who's actually a contender that's trying to get the fights with the top guys, the David Benavidez, the David Morrells, the Canelo Alvarez, Chris Eubanks, those type of fighters, the Caleb Plants, those type fighters, for something like that to happen as well. Shout out to my guy Knockout Boxing, because Knockout Boxing, if you are a member on his channel, he also was promoting these fights, and also giving predictions and taking time out of his day to sit up there and make videos. Because my guy ain't make videos yesterday as far as his regular content that's available to everybody, but he did make sure that y'all got the predictions for this card. Well, all of that was time wasted. And when you sit up there and do bad promotion, You do bad business. You just sit up there and waste everybody's time. And if y'all don't know anything about my city, it was about to be a riot outside. Because one thing we don't play, you don't play with people time, you don't play with people money. And for me to see my guy Greg Hackett as highly upset as he was, I understand it, because if you don't know Greg Hackett just had a newborn son. And then you got to take time out away from that to sit up there and train two fighters to go through a whole training camp in a and thinking that you're going to get your money. And yeah, Teflon Promotions may have gave them down payments, but you don't get no credit for that. When guys sit up there and make weight, and then it's because that you didn't pay the commissions and they showed up and everybody made weight and they ready to go. And then all of that is time wasted. You still have to pay those fighters. You got to take the loss, not the fighters. And it upsets me that this is what's going on, and I gotta highlight this and put a spotlight on my city, and it's truly embarrassing. And then for you to book y'all, I don't think y'all understand how big the Leacore Center is. It holds at least 8 to 9 to 10,000 people in there. It's where the Temple Owls play. It's where they have concerts at. And if you come from Philadelphia, you know everything that I'm saying is not a lie. So for you to sit up there and take time out your day to sit up there and pay the Leacore Center and make them cancel a date when they could have had many other things happening. Music artists love coming to Philadelphia, and that's one of the main venues. If they're not in the Wells Fargo, that's one of the main venues that people go to and will want to get booked secondary if they can. Say if you a mid-level artist like a Skilla Baby or a Boss Man of Flow or somebody like that, you're going to try to go to the Leacore Center because you could get it packed out, and then it's a more intimate setting. So for you to go through all of that and then not take the main steps as far as paying the commissions, paying the commission, making sure that you have the boxers paid, make sure that you have the ticket prices being reasonable, making sure that you're able to actually stream when you promote it on pay-per-view, all of that is bad business. And he didn't want to pay the commission or pay even more at the Leacore Center because the Leacore Center wanted more money, as they should want, because you want to bring cameras in there to stream it on pay-per-view. It's business. And the sad part is, man, people take time out their day to do all of these things. And then now Jabril Noble, Jesse Hart, and guys like that, and the other fighters, not just them. It's not. I'm just highlighting them because they from my city. But the other fighters that were supposed to fight them also didn't get paid as well. Also, it had to go through whole training camps, had to take time out of their day from their family, travel to Philadelphia. Just think about the guys that got to fight the guys that's from Philly. Now, that's even worse for them because they had to go through whole training camps, do all of this, and then spend travel costs, hotel money, and expecting that they're going to get they back in after they put in all of this hard work, y'all. Going to boxing gyms and keeping the lights on in boxing gyms, none of that stuff is free. Boxing equipment, paying sparring partners, none of that stuff is free, y'all. And that's why I need y'all to subscribe and like YSM Media, Greg Hackett, GHB TV, and most importantly, Manager Marty, because this is something that Manager Marty tries to highlight to y'all when it comes to the business of boxing. This is something that we talk about all the time about why fights can't get made, why fights should get made. And Teflon Dom, you should be ashamed of yourself. Because not only did you hurt the fighters, but you hurt yourself. You hurt your promotional company. Now people aren't going to want to do business with you. Now you just ended your career, of being a staple in Philadelphia boxing for all the up and coming guys that are here. Philadelphia is the mecca of boxing. And you just created a whole barrier now because you wanted to be cheap, because you didn't want to handle business right. Then come to find out, Greg Hackett say that you out there showing boxers that you got $300,000 in cash, but you're not willing to come up off of it. Well, you know what we call people like that? We call them pretenders. We call that fronting. We call that acting. We call that being a poser, a janky promoter, and you deserve all of this criticism. Now, I wanted to talk about David Benavidez and a bunch of other stuff that I'm going to talk about later, so keep your notifications on. But most importantly, I got to hold my city now. Most importantly, I got to support those that support me. And I will not let people like you do things like this and it just go under the radar because you just wasted a whole bunch of people time. You wasted all of the boxers' time. You wasted the fans' time that got up, hopped in the shower, bought their tickets, spent gas money, went out to dinner to make sure that they can get into the arena. Then, most importantly, y'all, you wasted the staff problem. You know, you got to hire staff there. You got to hire security. You got to hire ambulances. You got to hire doctors. You got to hire a lot of people to be there to have an event. Like Manager Marty will tell y'all, you got to hire somebody to put the ring together because they don't just host boxing matches. You got to host somebody. You got to pay somebody. Y'all know it's college basketball season. You got to pay somebody to take up the wood on the floor for the Temple Owls. So I just feel ashamed that this is happening. I feel ashamed that this puts a bad spotlight on my city, and I just thought that I wouldn't be who I was if I didn't talk about it. Y'all already know what this is though, right? Dame by any means. And I holla at y'all.